The voice of the Arbiter. I speak for she who is ever silent. So that enters the Shadowlands passes before her for judgment. Okay, well, I used to be a judgment paladin. Oh shit, now this is big. So it says, in the merest fraction of a moment, she sees every glory, every folly, every joy, every regret. With this knowledge, she chooses an ideal afterlife for that soul. They're speaking about a life review. And I can't believe that I'm reading this like right here. The whole thing, the entities, the outer-worldly experience, sort of like they're speaking about different souls from different worlds coming into this place, right? And it says here, every folly in the merest fraction of a moment. So it's just like a flash. This is quite interesting because in some of the real research in near-death experiences, they talk about this very thing, about people going through some sort of a life review, which is just as they're managing here, just like I was in hell and they're saying like, oh, I don't know if it's been years, weeks, months, there's no time. The same thing is that the people who report these near-death experiences speak about. They say there's no time, it was just like a flash before my eyes and I saw my whole life. Every glory, every folly, every joy, every regret. Whatever does this life review kind of goes through all the person's life, but not only their own experiences, but what they report is that they feel the experiences of the other person, what the other person felt through their actions. This is not lore, this is not narratives, this is not a video game, this is real research on near-death experiences. So this is what I'm saying. When I go into these narratives, into these games, I know that the people who wrote this, who wrote these lines, did a bit of research. Can you imagine the people who are making the game? Of course they're gonna go through the actual research on you know, they just said about the jailer, whatever the more thing is weakening, so the jailer might escape. This is a core item in these ancient narratives from the Gnostic Christians, which is quite interesting that they bring it forward. So yeah, the people who wrote these stories, they go through the actual research, through the actual stories related to the afterlife. This is why I was so excited about coming into the Shadowlands, because I know that these are people, this is a large corporation, of course, and a lot of people are angry and they have their own reasons about the lore and whatsoever, but they have to do the research before they write. And it's quite interesting that they put in this live review, which is in the actual reports right here. Let's see what else they're gonna talk about. Some things are better seen than explained. Okay, they're gonna explain to me whatever happened here.
I will consider your words.
The purpose has sent you to us, I know it. I will join you.
One day, she will awaken. I pray the Arbiter will awaken in your presence.
Pray? Oh, this is fantastic. I'm loving this. I'm loving this expansion.
Blessed be her voice. She is unchanged, ever silent, ever still. When you arrived in Oribos, I saw the Arbiter stir for the first time in many cycles. It gave me hope that she would awaken and resume her blessed purpose. Mere words cannot describe the glory that was. Step forward, that I may show you.
chanting orchestral
For
music. What?
uncounted eons, the Shadowlands was in perfect order.
Oh my god, this is so cool.
Infinite afterlives, with Oribos, the eternal city, as the shining heart. Every mortal soul came before the Arbiter, and she, ever wise, experienced all that had shaped a soul in life.
Oh my god, she's consciousness itself.
With this knowledge, she consigned every soul to the afterlife it justly deserved.
This is no coincidence.
In that dread moment, our perfect order was shattered. And so it is that every soul, kind and cruel alike, is denied its rightful afterlife, and instead is damned to the inescapable torment of the Maw.
It's quite interesting because she is consciousness itself. So I was just speaking about how this idea of the life review is everything a soul experiences, she sees it, she understands it. And this seems to be the case, like in the real research of near-death experiences. There's this... These people say that they feel that they access a larger consciousness which knows everything about them. This is of course a very emotional experience, a very positive experience. People say that they feel love, they feel this energy all around them. I'm talking about real near-death experiences. And the whole thing about judgment here, that they are judged into a different afterlife, this is not a real part of the research. But the whole thing about the life review is a real item, which is so interesting. So in this lore, in this World of Warcraft video game, so the idea is that the system is somehow broken. And we must mend it somehow, which is so cool. But the whole idea, like this Arbiter right here, she symbolizes consciousness, your consciousness, our consciousness, the consciousness. It's sort of like a higher self, because if she goes through a soul's experience, imagine how many millions and millions of these dumbass souls of us gamers who just died because of stupid reasons, and then we go into these eternal cities, and then we go through all of our life reviews. This consciousness knows everything. If you made it so far into this video, it's because you are interested in this topic, you're genuinely interested in it. And while when I'm on stream, I get all the information, I get all my thoughts mixed up sometimes, and I try to explain as better as I can. I do all of this because I've been researching this topic for a long time, and I work on this in real life. So to me it's quite amazing when I find these items in fantasy narratives. Now I know that it can be a bit confusing. I know that a lot of people are thinking, what is this guy talking about? So when I'm doing this, while I'm doing this series beyond the Shadowlands lore, what I'm gonna try this format of putting some clips from the streams where I speak about these items, because it's kind of hard to go back at them and to speak about the same thing. But then at the end, I want to clear up some things, some of the most important things that I really want to get across, because I know that I'm gonna put them at the end of the videos, because I know that the people who stayed is people that truly are interested in this topic, and it might be of use, of help to them to understand this information. This conceptualization of the Arbiter is quite fantastic. It's the most interesting thing that I've seen in a video game. And as I said in the stream, the Arbiter is consciousness. They are trying to portray consciousness as an entity. And these people who go into these experiences, they report what you see in Oribos. People being in a different realm of existence, meeting entities that are incorporeal in nature. They just see shapes, they just see light, they just see different things. Now the game has its own way to portray them, but then you meet the Arbiter, and it's this sort of higher self, this sort of consciousness, and they deliberately tell you that this Arbiter sees everything you do, every joy, every regret, everything you do, it sees it. And people who are going through these experiences are reporting exactly this, are reporting that you go to a place and you see your live review in front of you, you see images, you replay the clips, and what they are saying is that you feel how others felt. Now this is a piece on the research that tells us a lot about life, tells us a lot of what might be our purpose. I speak this, I'm gonna link a video from my real life research right here somewhere in the screen, where I speak about this live review, because understanding what the implications of these phenomena in the real life research can tell us a lot about who we are and what are we supposed to do here as human beings. And this is real research, this is not fantasy narrative, but it's quite interesting that I say somewhere in the stream that this is no coincidence, because this research is advancing. So the writers saw this, went into, okay, let's research what do we have on the afterlife, and they came upon this research, and that's what led their minds, their psyche, to connect to these archetypes and create all these characters and all these beings and so on and so forth. So for anyone interested, this live review is a key item to understand who we are as human beings and what we are supposed to do. Now the last thing that I want to clear out a little bit, even if it is a little bit, is the whole thing about this is the lore part. Also I exclude the part about Volbar and so on, because this is part of the story, part of the game, part of how they introduce the characters into the theme they are presenting. So these things are not relevant for what I'm trying to do here. I might include a few of them, not many, but they do speak about the jailer, and they speak about these menace that is about to escape this place, this maw. So in a sense, in the whole structure of the Shadowlands in the game, everything works together, and they are well aware of this maw, of this place of torment, of this place of pain, of illusions, and so on and so forth. So they manage one theme, one of judgment. They say that the Arbiter is gonna judge you into an afterlife. Now this might seem something very Christian, very dogmatic, but it's not like that at all. And the game is doing an amazing job at representing this in a better way to understand it and to go in with the actual research. They speak about all these realms in the Shadowlands. They speak about multiverse, they speak about infinite realms and infinite life forms. People who are doing entheogens, who are coming from altered states of consciousness, who are going into NDEs, they speak about this. They say that we are all just one consciousness multiplying itself and living different lives, doing different incarnations, as is the theme in Ardenworld, and gathering experiences and so on and so forth. But what the research is showing is that there is no judgment, there is no real judgment involved. What it is something to enlighten you, to see what you are doing with your life and how others might be affected. Now this is a very complicated philosophical issue, and even in real life, in my real life project, I have a hard time explaining all of these, because maybe I don't even understand it myself, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to understand. This is why I'm doing this sort of streams also. It helps me relax in a way, even though I'm speaking about the same thing. But in any case, the thing that people are reporting in these altered states of consciousness is that depending on their thoughts, on their mindset, on their subconscious mind, on their previous knowledge, they can manifest their own realms. They can go or sort of connect to some other realms that exist. So oftentimes in the entheogen community, when people have quote-unquote bad trips, people, as I said in the previous video of the mob, people are reporting that they go to these hellish realms, and these hellish realms a lot of times don't have anything to do with what the mythologies have us believe, fire and hell and demons. They simply have feelings. They sometimes see things. They have hallucinations. They see monsters. They see all sorts of things, of entities and so on. But all of these are archetypes, just like Carl Jung spoke about. All of these are things that are in our subconscious minds. We don't really know the answers. This research is very recent, but it seems to point that way. It depends on your state of consciousness, what you create and what you bring forward. So this is why we are in a bit of revolution to try to understand the mind. So when the game introduces this concept of being judged into a certain afterlife, it's not quite the dogmatic narrative of a God judging you to go into the mall and repent or so on. It's more of your own state of consciousness. Depending on where you are in your mind, it's very likely that you are gonna create, call it hallucinations, call it realms, call it magic, call it whatever you want, call it subconscious mind, call it dreams. It's very likely that depending on your state of consciousness, you will create the reality that is within you. If you made it so far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I'm having a blast. I know it's a bit strange. It's not a common gamer thing to dabble into these items, but this is what I'm doing. This is what I like to do. And if you want more of this, you can like this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time.